gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah.
Redmi has finally brought the Pro variant back to its K100 lineup, and this time it comes with a pretty interesting processor, the 5th generation Snapdragon 8 Elite V series, with the model number SM8850-1-AB. But the biggest question is, how different is this chip from the regular 5th generation Snapdragon 8 Elite that we already know?
A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from Tech Maiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out our exciting tech content.
From an architectural standpoint, the CPU still uses the 3rd generation Orion architecture. The core configuration also remains the same, with 2 supercores clocked at 4.6 GHz and 6 large cores running at 3.62 GHz. The GPU continues to use the same generation of Adreno architecture as well. On paper then, the specifications look quite similar. However, the maximum operating frequencies are different. In simple terms, this is positioned as a more affordable and cost-effective SoC. So how does this chip actually perform inside the Redmi K100 Pro? Let's take a closer look. Starting with Geekbench 6, the K100 Pro achieves a single-core score of 3,599 and a multi-core score of 11,180. The iQOO 15 scores 3,817 in single-core and 12,082 in multi-core. The Red Magic 11 Pro reaches 3,821 and 12,403, respectively, while the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max scores 3,662 in single-core and 11,410 in multi-core. If we directly compare the iQOO 15 with the K100 Pro, the K100 Pro's single-core performance is roughly 5.7% lower, while its multi-core result is around 7.5% lower. And that basically confirms the difference we talked about earlier. But benchmark numbers are only part of the story. The more important question is, what happens when you actually start gaming? To find that out, we compared the K100 Pro with other devices that are also designed with gaming performance in mind. All of the devices were tested under the same standards and in the same environment. In the wide-angle Honor Series test, the average frame rate was essentially identical between the devices, and the 1% low frame rate was also very close. The K100 Pro did run at a slightly higher temperature and consumed a little more power. However, during real gameplay, there wasn't any major difference in overall smoothness. There was only a subtle difference in how the devices felt while playing. Things became more interesting in Peacekeeper. Here, the average frame rate and body temperature were quite similar, but the K100 Pro's 1% low frame rate was more than 20 frames higher. Although the K100 Pro consumed slightly more power, its minimum frame rate remained noticeably more stable during situations like fast camera turns, close-range fights, or sudden increases in scene complexity. Finally, when we tested Genshin Impact, the overall results were quite similar to what we saw in Honor of Kings. The K100 Pro delivered a slightly higher 1% low frame rate, while both its temperature and power consumption were also slightly higher.
The performance of the new Iron series was quite similar overall, although the body temperature climbed even higher, reaching nearly 47 degrees Celsius. That suggests the phone was really pushing the hardware to its maximum power. So, looking at the test results, this V-series chip doesn't really fall outside the performance range of the 5th generation Snapdragon 8 Elite family when it comes to actual gaming. In fact, the K100 Pro managed to achieve an average frame rate that was about 1% higher. While the low frame rate also remains relatively strong, there is a trade-off. Its energy efficiency isn't quite as good as the standard version, and the temperature is also higher. Clearly, this tuning is designed to put performance ahead of power efficiency. And the high refresh rate experience doesn't stop at the standard 144 Hz mode. The K100 Pro also supports ultra-high frame rates of up to 165 Hz and even 185 Hz. At the moment, Genshin Impact already has a pretty extensive lineup of supported games, and many of the mobile titles you regularly play can take advantage of these ultra-high frame rates. We tested several games ourselves, and the results are quite impressive. Even in CrossFire running at an ultra-high 185 Hz frame rate, the K100 Pro was able to maintain an almost full frame rate performance of 184.6 frames per second. Even the 100% low frame rate remained extremely high at 147.9 frames per second. For shooting games, smoother visuals are only the most obvious advantage of higher frame rates. When you're aiming, zooming in, turning quickly, or applying pressure during combat, the screen updates more rapidly, while the response between your actions and what you see on screen becomes more consistent. The 165 FPS and 185 FPS modes in Genshin Impact on the K100 Pro are also a direct showcase of what its 185 Hz display can actually do. But what happens if the game doesn't support Genshin Impact at 165 or 185 FPS? That's where the dedicated graphics card comes into play. With PC-level hardware AI super resolution enabled in Genshin Impact, textures such as walls become noticeably clearer, while the edges around characters also look sharper. You don't have to spend a long time staring at individual pixels to notice. Once you zoom in, the difference is quite easy to see. Based on the current level of support, the D2 can allow 7 mainstream games to simultaneously activate 185 FPS super resolution along with differential frame rate, while more than 40 games support 165 FPS differential frame rate. This also addresses another issue. Even when Genshin Impact isn't configured to run at such a high frame rate, the dedicated graphics card can still help improve both image clarity and frame rate performance. So when we look at this V-series chip from both the theoretical specifications and actual gaming results, its performance is quite close to the standard 5th generation supercapacitor 8 tracking version, reaching roughly 90% or even higher. Of course, the processor is only one part of the equation. The cooling system underneath is just as important. The K100 Pro is equipped with a 5,150 square millimeter circulating cooling pump, while the overall heat dissipation area exceeds 26,000 square millimeters. We've also made specific adjustments to the cooling system and the camera positioning around the landscape gaming grip area. And that's basically my first impression of the Redmi K100 Pro. This is only an initial hands-on video, and I'll be uploading a much more detailed review after the official launch on August 11th. So if you're interested in the K100 Pro and want to see the full performance, gaming, camera, battery, and overall review, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our tech team. That's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.